Lauren Cohn, John Cass, 89 WLS, taking your calls, 591-8900, and your texts.
John, I woke up this morning grumpy. Just kidding. There's a silly study out that actually says that women wake up grumpier than men. Really?
Okay, wait.
Because I'm grumpy right now after reading the study and reading about gender bias among women. So can I just take a whole hour to talk about that?
Listen,
you want to word it on this one? Because I'm
Shut up,
mad.
John. Shut up, John. Did you notice this tone of voice there? The Lauren tone was like basically I hear it from Betty, okay? It's not rare. It's more like the hand is on that's sexist to say the hand is on the hip while you're talking to me, because it's not. But you are grumpy.
I am?
Right.
Generally in the morning? I am not grumpy.
Oh, come on, Miss Sunshine.
And this says basically that women wake up grumpier than men. You know why we do? Because you guys snore.
Because women don't snore?
And I want women to call in 591-8900 and agree with me, because I got a couple of examples coming up after the break about why there is gender bias out there. And this is...
Okay, let's just take
Duke University,
one study.
Hello.
Let's take one study from Duke University about women waking up grumpier because they need more sleep than men.
Maybe if you guys stopped snoring...
And now you're going to extrapolate it. Pretty soon we're going to have Helen Reddy singing this song. Well, let's. Are we going to go to the Helen Reddy moment?
I am woman, hear me roar.
Yeah, but okay, I support you in this, though.
You do. Okay,
I'm not
here's
negative.
the thing: I don't wake up grumpy, and I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that can attest to that.
Do you? Do you wake up grumpy because you don't get enough cheerful, chirpy little guy that I am? John Cass, Lauren Cohn, News with Ryan Burrow. It is 10:30.
89 WLS. When news breaks, turn to 89 WLS first to get the facts and form your own opinion. Chicago's talk leader, 89 WLS.
Does anyone want to know how to survive? You don't ask women if they snore on the radio. Because the
answer is no.
I am so bruised. I've got Lauren just beat the heck out of me during the break, Lauren. Are
Listen,
you really
I was basically
grumpy?
defending the fact that I'm not grumpy in the morning. And I think it has a relationship to coffee, giving up coffee. Because when I did drink coffee, I would wake up so groggy and irritable in the morning. But when I gave it up, jump out of bed like a bunny, and I'm happy until I read stuff like this. Out of the Tribune today, business section, it's a study that profiles gender bias in joint mortgages. Woodstock Institute found that in the 6-county Chicago area, joint applications for home purchases and refinancing were much more likely to be approved if a man was listed first on the application. And I can't even tell you the nightmares that I've been going through when I'm talking to brokers and banks about refinancing and how I'm treated and the numbers. And I often wonder, just like when I had to go buy a car or taking my car in, if I were a man, would I be treated differently? And that's why I want to hear what women have to say. 591-8900, because I think it's true.
Shut up.
But don't you think it's true? Possibly that if remember the cab situation when you came down, how I was being treated by the cabs? I've never seen you so quiet. And you came down and said something to the cab driver, and he treated me differently.
I just said I know where you live, and I have friends.
Yeah.
Well, Sean from Elmwood Park was going to go out there. Well, I don't know. Sometimes Betty has. I call. Sometimes you call, and if a guy's on the phone and acting like a real jerk, things happen. So do women want to act like jerks and get things, you know what I mean? Is that the deal? Stuart in Oswego.
Hello.
Yes,
Hi, Stuart.
Can you please save me from Lauren, because she woke up out of bed grumpy, and now she's taking that out on me. What?
Lauren is never grumpy. I listen to you guys every day, and,
Thank you, Stuart.
I love your show.
But don't you think this is true, that this gender bias?
Well, here's the facts. My wife claims that I snore. I admit that I snore, but she snores too, and she won't admit it. Why is that?
Women never admit that they snore.
I would admit if I snored if somebody told me I snore, but no one's ever told me that.
I have actually videotaped her and showed her the next morning.
Oh, well, there you go. And she still didn't admit it after that? Then there's a problem.
No, she still denies it.
Deny.
Stuart, Betty and I have been married for, 20-plus centuries now? And when she wakes up, Betty wakes up in the morning, her hair's perfect, everything's perfect about her, and there's like little bluebirds,
Okay, now you're being silly.
Now
you're being silly. We know we're not perfect in the morning. But you guys do snore more than we do, and that's why we're not getting to sleep.
Women snore, too. I'm not saying Betty. Betty, I did not say you. Sean, save me. Sean.
All right, listen, are you telling me it doesn't work the other way? I just left my office with 3 girls, and the only reason they have jobs is because they have 7 inches of cleavage. Now, granted, I hired them, but nonetheless...
Okay, you're so out of line here.
I'm kidding, I'm joking. It works the other way, and the issue is it's debt-to-income ratio. And this can all be solved if out of all applications you took off first names, races, and sex orientation questions.
Okay, so Sean, you're in the real estate business, right?
Last name, and that's it.
Sean, you're in the real estate business, right?
Correct.
So the story that basically came out from the Woodstock Institute saying that if people want to file a joint application, they should put the man's name on and not the woman's name because they have a better chance of getting a loan.
No, it has to do with income and debt ratio. That's it. Now, what happens is, and this is just the way it happens, and it's not in every case, but you grab 10 arbitrary women and 10 arbitrary men, and the women carry more debt in almost every case.
Why?
And that is because when they're shopping, and I have to tell my wife, don't ever do this. What happens when you're shopping, Lauren? You know, you go to a store where you don't have a charge card. You pull out your American Express. What does the store clerk say to you?
Wow, I'm really offended by this because I've never had any debt. I don't really shop that much because I don't like to shop, but I don't think that's fair.
Store credit ruins women's credit. Store credit is a very detrimental thing to have on your credit. So when you go to Target and you pull out your American Express and they say, would you like to save 10% today? You say yes, you fill out that credit, it pulls down your numbers.
Oh, and you're saying that more women are doing that than men are. Well, I don't know. I feel like when I go to deal with people about mortgages or when I bought my car or anything like that, I'm treated differently. And if I bring a man with me, I'm treated with more respect. I get more answers.
I just went and had my car serviced. When I walked in, there was a beautiful blonde there. The guy went up to the blonde and said, what would you like? I was there first.
Okay,
so
Sean.
The other way.
Sean, you know what? You made your statements, and guess who's going to pay for it? Me. Thank you, and I didn't say anything. Bye.
We love you, Sean.
Bye.
That's why we just take people's opinion on the show.
Please, Professor Snookums, come and save me. John from Evergreen Park. Do we got a second here? John.
Hi.
Yeah.
Miss Cohan, I would like to give you a title of a book. It's called Velvet and Steel, on how men should treat women. I do believe, though, that women do use being grumpy as an excuse sometimes to get what it is that they want.
What do you mean?
Now, if I have a wife and I have an older daughter, and when they're not in a good mood, they'll use the grumpy excuse to maybe get me to go and get them something to help them be less grumpy.
All right, I'll help you, John, because we got a minute, John. We have to go, but I'll tell you, this is what you do. You take a couple of hound dogs, you go out in the woods with your friends, and you let them hunt, and you drink whiskey all night, and then come back and see if they're...
Maybe she has to get grumpy to get you to do stuff.
Okay.
No, I'm very willing to do things with my wife and for my wife.
That's good.
Oh, there's two sides to every story,
John,
but we appreciate the call.
That's good. I'd say take her to Palermo's and on 95th and have a pizza since you're out there. All right, listen. Lauren, can you please just not be as mean to me in this next coming break as you were earlier?
I'm not going to speak anymore.
She's not going to take it. John Cass.
I'm just taking with you next time I go shopping.
I'm not saying anything. Just Lauren Cohn. Back after
Sean
this.
says my
Bye.
credit's going to be bad.
I'm scared. Bye.
89 WLS. Weather happens. Turn to 89 WLS for up-to-the-minute forecast from America's most dependable, The Weather Channel. Online at WLSAM.com. Keyword storm and 89 WLS.
Lauren Cohn, who's not ever grumpy.
And never snores.
Never snores. I wouldn't know how to respond to either of those questions because you're not grumpy, and I don't know what your sleeping habits are, but I would say
I think women are getting a bad rap in this study from Duke University, by the way. It was probably done by a group of men.
Yeah, and they probably studied male primates. Right? Look, here's how you don't get grumpy. I mean, besides the obvious thing that we're not going to talk about. The other way to deal with it is this.
Why can't we talk about it?
Because I'm blushing.
Lauren,
stop
you're
it.
the same color as the 89 WLS red sign behind you right now.
Listen, I'm old school. I can't,
Why aren't more people calling in on this? Where are all the women out there?
Because they know that no one can talk to you.
They're all grumpy this morning?
No, if a woman declares on the radio, 50,000 watts, I'm not grumpy, and I'm tired of people saying I'm grumpy, and I hate this study that says I'm grumpy, and Sean and a couple others called in, and you know what happened. They were like verbally decapitated. So no one's going to say. Well,
Sean was a little off the line this morning.
Yes.
Let me ask you this.
Right.
Would you ever tell your wife that she's grumpy?
Would I tell Betty Costella, the Sicilian beauty, the lovely Sicilian
who's perfect
in all things, that she's ever grumpy? No, because you know what? My wife is never grumpy. She's cheerful, she's helpful, she's courteous.
Does she snore?
Are you kidding me? Of course not. Okay, Betty doesn't snore.
Yeah.
She does sometimes fall asleep on the couch when we're watching, The Good Wife.
Weekly, she falls asleep watching The Good Wife.
No, it's just that she works, I work, takes care of the kids, everything else. So,
well, it's good that you live with someone who doesn't snore and isn't grumpy. That's important.
My kids snore, though. They're like little bears.
And they're both boys.
Boys, yeah.
Boys that snore. We just, case in point, all men snore. Should we close out the show on that?
I'm saying that nobody bring up this subject to Lauren Cohan again. She's been grumpy. First, it was you held off.
I don't sound grumpy. I'm smiling. I'm laughing.
Oh, yeah.
That's why the plate of glass that's usually up between Dan and Bruce, they just put it right between us.
Yeah, you might be smiling all right, but
come on, let's go get lunch after this. I'll buy you lunch after this.
Okay, veal salt and boca and a bottle of Chianti. John Cass, Lauren Cohan, 89 WLS. We're back after
89 WLS.
Well, we finally got a glimpse of Lauren's personal life as she got under my skin, fulfilling the Jake Hartford role. I can't quit you, but today I felt like,
I just can't quit you.
Yeah, that's really the Monty Teo. That's me and Tuyasa Sopo to Monty. But Lauren.
Yes, sir. It's a good
You're
show
not grumpy.
Today. Not grumpy.
You're never grumpy, Lauren?
Never grumpy, and I never snore.
If I was a loan officer,
I'm perfect,
I'd give
just
you
like Betty. Give a loan officer, give me everything.
This is the thing.
I love it.
We don't have the chance. So sometimes they get in a certain way. Just keep your mouth shut and go, uh-huh.
Is that selective hearing thing that men do?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, uh-huh. Right? Uh-huh. Like that?
Just don't give us a reason to be grumpy. That's what the one lady said, right?
Yeah, like
the guy said about his wife. Don't give us a reason to be grumpy.
I can't even go into all these things that we should
Men
be
are from Mars,
about.
women are from Venus, right?
Whatever. I don't know.
It's only Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, no rolling pin in the studio tomorrow. Please don't beat me up at the breaks.
We're watching what's going on live in Rome right now, which is very fascinating, and we'll see tomorrow if we see any white smoke coming out.
All
Perhaps
right.
there'll be a new pope.
John Cass, Lauren Cohan, back in 22. Thanks for hanging out with us.
From Chicago to the North American continent.
In our 89th year, entertaining Chicago. 89